So today, we're going to dive into the beginning of the graphic novel Scars. It's a powerful story that kicks off with some real tragedy, but it shows us how the stories of our ancestors, their legends, can actually guide us through our own darkest moments. We're going to see how a family's history of survival becomes this incredible source of strength for dealing with today's struggles.
All right, let's get into it. The story just drops us right in the middle of a crisis. This is a moment the narrator tells us is the end of everything they ever knew.
So the first thing we see is the inside of a teepee, and you can feel the heavy, somber mood right away. We see this young man, who we'll get to know as White Cloud, and he's watching as this horrible sickness just tears through his family. The art style itself really sells that feeling of being trapped, that sense of despair.
And wow, the detail here, it does not pull any punches. It's just heartbreaking. The narrator makes it really clear this wasn't just any sickness, calling it a plague that marked the end of our old way of life. You can tell this was an event that completely shattered their world.
And that one line just says it all, doesn't it? It captures just how deep their loss was. They didn't just lose people they loved, they lost an entire way of life, an entire era they actually called paradise. That is a powerful way to set the stage for the struggle that's coming.
So with their whole world turned upside down, the survivors have to face this unimaginable task. What do they do now? What do they do with those they've lost?
And here we see them, performing this final, solemn duty. They're wrapping the bodies of White Cloud's younger sister and his oldest brother in buffalo hide. It's this quiet, respectful moment in the middle of an absolute catastrophe.
Just look at the mother's face in this panel. She's holding her baby, and her words are just so chillingly practical. We have to leave now, children. It perfectly captures that awful conflict between the need to grieve and the overwhelming need to just survive.
And so they just have to go. They have to abandon their camp, which was their home, and leave their loved ones behind just to escape the sickness. It's this painful, forced journey away from everything that matters to them.
Okay, and then bam, the story does something really interesting. We're pulled from this tragedy in the past and dropped directly into the present day. It creates this really powerful connection across generations.
All of a sudden, we're in a modern bedroom. A mother is watching her son sleep. The whole setting is completely different. You see the modern clothes, a normal bed, but that feeling of a parent's concern, that's timeless.
But then you notice this little detail on the floor, an overturned bottle of pills. It's a quiet detail, but it's super alarming. It's a clue that the plagues of the past might be gone, but there are new dangers, new kinds of struggles that this young man is facing right now.
That mother's question just hangs in the air, and it connects everything, right? It's the exact same fear for a child's future that our ancestors must have felt centuries ago. It's a really powerful way to show how trauma and worry can echo through a family.
So we jump back to the past, and we find the family who are already so weakened, and they're about to face yet another devastating blow.
You know, you think maybe they've escaped, they've made it to this new camp, but the sickness is still with them. The baby sister, the one the mother was holding just a little while ago, she's gone too. And the father's prayer is just so simple and heartbreaking. Creator, cradle our baby sister in your arms.
And what happens next is just an unbelievable act of sacrifice. White Cloud's other brother, he decides he's going to stay behind with the body of their baby sister. He gets it. Someone has to stay, but the rest of the family has to keep going. It's just this profound act of love and courage.
And his brother looks right at him, eye to eye, and says, "You can survive." And you could tell this isn't just encouragement, it's a command. It's the weight of the entire family's future being placed right on White Cloud's shoulders as he's forced to turn and walk away.
So now, White Cloud is completely on his own, and his journey just pushes him to the absolute brink, to the very limit of his strength and his hope.
You just see him wandering this huge, empty landscape with only his dog for company. Days pass. He's weak, he's heartbroken, and you can see he's losing hope. The plains around him feel just as empty and desolate as he must feel inside.
And right at that moment, when he is about to give up, when it really seems like all hope is lost, something happens. A turning point, a miracle.
I mean, he is at his absolute lowest point, and then this story, a legend his family used to tell him, starts to happen right in front of his eyes.
So he looks up at the sky and sees this weird little cloud with a snake coming out of it. And the narrator tells us there's this family legend, right? If that snake had fallen from the cloud, that would have been it for him.
But then the Thunderbird. This huge, legendary bird just swoops in and starts pulling the snake up, away from the earth, away from him. That story he's heard his whole life, it's real. It's happening.
And here's the climax, right? Just as the snake is about to attack, another thunderbird, this one is described as dark and fast as lightning, just zaps it. In his absolute darkest moment, White Cloud gets to witness the power of his family's stories, a sign that maybe he's not truly alone after all.
So this all brings us to a really important question, something the whole story is asking us to think about. From that historical plague all the way to the modern mother's fear for her son, this story shows us a powerful connection. It's asking us, how can the legends, the struggles, and the incredible resilience of the people who came before us, how can that give us the strength to face the challenges in our own lives?